Oh, hello, and welcome in, travelers. Before you ask, I can assure you that each and every utensil, plate, and tankard has been thoroughly cleaned with both water, magic, and goodwill. We pride ourselves here on the idea that not every inn in Skyrim have to be dirty, messy, and intentionally unorganized. Now please come inside, rest your weary legs, and take a seat by the fire. Today's menu consists of the soup of the day, as well as chicken dumplings, or the exquisite fondue from the lands of elsewhere. If you're thirsty, we have water and milk for the cozy enjoyers, and a bottle of mead from the newly cleansed and renovated 𝕾𝖔𝖈𝖎𝖆𝑑𝖘 for those who need a bit of warmth in these dark times. Lately, I have been really busy with reciting stories of old to my dear listeners at the Academy. We call it the Tales of the Elder Scrolls, and I am beyond overjoyed that so many lovely people have showed up for it. But enough rambling about me. Let us instead return to the narrative of 𝕾𝖔𝖈, the Wolf Queen, in the third volume of the series. Let us begin. It is the 98th year of the Third Era. The Emperor 𝕾𝖔𝖈𝖎𝖆𝖑𝖘 II died a few weeks before the end of the year, on the 15th of Evening Star during the festival of North Wind's Prayer, which was considered a bad omen for the Empire. He had ruled over a difficult 17 years in order to fill the bankrupt treasury. 𝕾𝖆𝖎𝖆 had dismissed the Elder Council, forcing them to buy back their positions. Several good but poor councillors had been lost. Many says that the Emperor had died as a result of being poisoned by a vengeful former council member. His children came to attend his funeral and the coronation of the next emperor. His youngest son, Prince Magnus, 19 years of age, arrived from Almalexia, where he had been a counselor to the royal court. The 21-year-old Prince Cepheus arrived from Ghislaine with his Redguard bride, Queen Bianchi. Prince Antiochus, at 43 years of age, the oldest child and the preassumed heir to the throne, had been with his father in the imperial city. The last to appear was his only daughter, 𝕾𝖆𝖈, the so-called Wolf Queen of Solitude. 30 years old and radiantly beautiful, she arrived with a magnificent entourage, accompanied by her husband, the elderly King Mantiarco, and her year-old son, Uriel. All expected Antiochus to assume the throne of the empire, but no one knew what to expect from the Wolf Queen herself. It is now the 99th year of the Third Era. A conversation is being had a year later. Lord 𝕆𝖑𝖑 has been bringing several men to your sister's chambers late at night, every night this week, offered the spy master. Perhaps if her husband were made aware. My sister is a devotee of the conqueror gods Remen and Talos, not the love goddess Dibella. She is plotting with those men, not having orgies with them. I'd wager I've slept with more men than she has, laughed Antiochus, and then grew serious. She's behind the delay of the council offering me the crown. I know it. 6 weeks now. They say they need to update records and prepare for the coronation. I'm the emperor. Crown me and to oblivion with the formalities. Your sister is surely no friend of yours, Your Majesty, but there are other factors at play. Do not forget how your father treated the council. It is they who need following, and if need be, strong convincing, the spymaster added, with a suggestive stab of his dagger. Do so, but keep your eye on the damnable Wolf Queen as well. You know where to find me. At which brothel, Your Highness? Inquired the spymaster. Today being Freda's, I'll be at the Cat and Goblin. The spymaster noted in his report that night that Queen Potema had no visitors, for she was dining across the Imperial Garden at the Blue Palace with her mother, the Dowager Empress Quintilla. It was a warm night for wintertide and surprisingly cloudless, though the day had been stormy. The saturated ground could not take any more, so the formal, structured gardens looked as if they had been glazed with water. The two women took their wine to the wide balcony to look over the grounds. I believe you are trying to sabotage your half-brother's coronation, said Quintilla, not looking at her daughter directly. Potema saw how the years had not so much wrinkled her mother as faded her, like the sun on a stone. It's not true, said Potema. But would it bother you very much if it were true? Antiochus is not my son. He was 11 years old when I married your father, and we have never been close. I think that being the preassumed heir has stunted his growth. He is old enough to have a family with grown children, and yet he spends all his time at debauchery and fornication. He will not make a very good emperor, Quintilla sighed, and then turned to Potema. But it is bad for the family for seeds of discontent to be sown. It is easy to divide up into factions, but very difficult to unite again. I fear for the future of the empire. Those sound like the words. Are you by any chance dying, mother? I have read the omens, said Quintilla, with a faint, ironic smile. Don't forget, I was a renowned sorceress in Camlorn. I will be dead in a few months' time, and then, not a year later, your husband will die as well. I only regret that I will not live to see your child Uriel assume the throne of solitude. Have you seen whether... Potema stopped, not wanting to reveal too many of her plans, even to a dying woman. Whether he will be emperor? I know the answer to that too, daughter. Don't fear. You will live to see the answer, one way or the other. I have a gift for him when he is of age. The Dowager Empress removed a necklace with a single great yellow gem from around her neck. It is a soul gem, infused with the spirit of a great werewolf your father and I defeated in a battle 36 years ago. I have enchanted it with spells from the School of Illusion, so its wearer may charm whoever he chooses. An important skill for a king. And an emperor, said Potema, taking the necklace. Thank you, mother. An hour later, passing the black branches of the sculpted dwarf shrubs, Potema noticed a dark figure which vanished into the shadows underneath the eaves at her approach. She had noticed people following her before. It was one of the hazards of life in the imperial court, but this man was too close to her chambers. She slipped the necklace around her neck. "Come out where I can see you," she commanded. The man emerged from the shadows, a dark little fellow of middle age dressed in black dyed goatskin. His eyes were fixed, frozen, under her spell. "Who do you work for?" she asked. "Prince Antiochus is my master," he said in a dead voice. "I am his spy." A plan formed within her mind. "Is the prince in his study?" "No, milady." "And you have access?" "Yes, milady." 𝕱𝖆 smiled. She had him. "Lead the way." The next morning, the storm reappeared in all its fury. The pelting on the walls and ceilings was agony to Antiochus, who was discovering that he no longer had his youthful immunity to a late night of hard drinking. He shoved hard against the Argonian wench sharing his bed. "Make yourself useful and close the window," he groaned. No sooner had the window been bolted than there was a knock at the door. It was the spy master. He smiled at the prince and handed him a sheet of paper. "What is this?" said Antiochus, squinting his eyes. "I must still be drunk. It looks like orcish to me." "I think you will find it useful, your majesty. Your sister is here to see you." Antiochus considered getting dressed or sending his bedmate out, but thought better of it. "Show her in. Let her be scandalized." If 𝕱𝖆 was indeed scandalized, she did not show it. Swathed in orange and silver silk, she entered the room with a triumphant smile, followed by the man mounted 𝕱𝖆𝖑𝖘. "Dear brother, I spoke to my mother last night, and she advised me very wisely. She said I should not battle with you in public for the good of our family and the empire. Therefore," she said, producing from the folds of her robe a piece of paper, "I am offering you a choice." "A choice," said Antiochus, returning her smile. "That does sound friendly. Abdicate your rights to the imperial throne voluntarily, and there is no need for me to show the council this," 𝕱𝖆 said, handing her brother the letter. "It is a letter with your seal on it, saying that you knew that your father was not 𝕾𝖔𝖈𝖎𝖆𝖑𝖘 II, but instead the royal steward, 𝕱𝖆𝖑𝖘. Now, before you deny writing the letter, you cannot deny the rumors, nor that the Imperial Council will believe that your father, the old fool, was quite capable of being cuckolded. Whether it's true or not, or whether the letter is a forgery or not, the scandal of it would ruin your chances of being the emperor." Antiochus's face had gone white with fury. "Don't fear, brother," said 𝕱𝖆, taking back the letter from his shaking hands. "I will see to it that you have a very comfortable life, and all the whores your heart or any organ desires." Suddenly, Antiochus laughed. He looked over at his spy master and winked. "I remember when you broke into my stash of 𝕾𝖔𝖈𝖎𝖑𝖘 and blackmailed me. That was close to 20 years ago. We've got better locks now. You must have noticed. It must have killed you that you couldn't use your own skills to get what you wanted." 𝕱𝖆 merely smiled. It didn't matter. She had him. "You must have charmed my servant here into getting you into my study to use my seal," Antiochus smiled. Antiochus smirked. A spell, perhaps, from your mother, the witch. 𝕻𝖒𝖒 continued to smile. Her brother was cleverer than she thought. Did you know that charm spells, even powerful ones, only last so long? Of course you didn't. You never were one for magic. Let me tell you, a generous salary is a stronger motivation for keeping a servant in the long run, sister. Antiochus took out his own sheet of paper. Now I have a choice for you. What is that? Said 𝕻𝖒𝖒, her smile faltering. It looks like nonsense, but if you know what you're looking for, it's very clear. It is a practice sheet. Your handwriting attempting to look like my handwriting. It is a good gift you have. I wonder if you haven't done this before, imitating another person's handwriting. I understand a letter was found from your husband's dead wife saying that his first son was a bastard. I wonder if you wrote that letter. I wonder if I show this evidence of your gift to your husband, whether he would believe you wrote that letter. In the future, dear Wolf Queen, don't lay the same trap twice. 𝕻𝖒𝖒 shook her head, furious, unable to speak. Give me your forgery, and we take a walk in the rain. And then, later today, unhatch whatever other plots you have to keep me from the throne. Antiochus fixed his eyes on 𝕻𝖒𝖒's. I will be emperor, Wolf Queen. Now go. 𝕻𝖒𝖒 handed her brother the letter and left the room. For a few moments out in the hallway, she said nothing. She merely glared at the slivers of rainwater dripping down the marble wall from a tiny, unseen crack. Yes, you will, brother, she said, but not for very long. Oh, dearie me, it would seem that this story is getting darker and darker. Soon, we might not even see the pages. Wait, where are the pages? Oh, it's because the candlelight went out. How silly of me. There we go. Well, what do you think, dear listeners? Has 𝕻𝖒𝖒's luck run out? Or does she still have a plan B? Or possibly a C, D, and E as well? Seeing as this was number 3 out of 8, I would assume she figures it out eventually. But I suppose we will just have to wait to find out what happens next. Now then, I have to teleport back to the academy. I have new stories to tell to those who are interested. You're very welcome to join me. I have also decided to put up a bulletin board within my tavern, so if you have any suggestions and/or ideas as to what I could cover next, please write it down below. Until next time, my dear listeners, ta-ta.